Hey guys, it's Bryn. Welcome back. It has been so long since I've sat down and filmed a video. This feels kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a long time, feels a little weird, but I'm excited to do this. So I've been waiting to film this video for kind of a while now. You may know I have been looking for a job for quite a while now, actually. I graduated college last year, jumped into a 6-month internship right after that, and then I didn't really know what to do, and it ended up causing me to not have a job for quite a few months. But now I can officially say I have a job, and with this job comes moving to a new city, finding a place to live, getting furniture for said place to live, getting my own insurance, getting my own bills. I mean, everything that comes with being an adult, essentially. It's kind of weird because I've been vlogging furniture shopping and my process of finding a place to live and everything, so I've essentially talked to the camera about this before, but in the sequence of videos, this is the first you're ever gonna hear about it, so surprise! So my point in all of this is that this is a lot of firsts for me, but it took a lot of other things to get up to this point. So I kind of wanted to do a little Q&A about graduating college, unemployment, first jobs, internships, everything that I've kind of learned along the way to get up to this point that I'm about to start soon. So I just feel like in the last year or so, I've learned so much about just being an adult in the world on my own. And I know a lot of you guys are about the same age, so you're probably currently going through the same thing or are going to be very soon. So I wanted to do this kind of Q&A, how to adult kind of thing. So in this video, I have about 4 questions that kind of cover the range of everything, but I would really like to keep this series going and maybe do more targeted videos, one video on this aspect of being an adult that I know about, and then do another one and do another one. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. But as of now, we have 4 questions sent in by you guys that cover 4 different topics of being an adult and all that terrifying, scary stuff that I can actually help you with now because I know how to do it. I have a job. I'm an expert. Would not call myself an expert, but I have a little bit of experience with it that I have learned along the way. So I am about to impart this wisdom upon you as well, in hopes that you will not make the same mistakes that I have made, quite a lot of them. So anyway, I've rambled long enough. Let's get into the first question. So this question was sent in by Bryn. Not this Bryn, another Bryn who has 2 N's on the end of her name. Is there anything you wish you would have done in high school or college to better prepare for this section of your life? General answer is yes. There are so many things I could have done or that anybody can do in high school or college to kind of prepare for moving in to the adult world, we'll call it. But essentially, you are never going to be fully prepared. Moving from school life where everything is kind of decided for you and moving into your own employment life where you get to make basically every decision, even decisions that you never thought you would have to make, like window treatments. Point is, you are never going to be fully prepared. There are so many aspects of it that 1, you never expect, or 2, you just don't know how to do or deal with at all. So essentially there are a lot of things and you can't really go wrong. You can just try to do as much as you can and know that you can't prepare for everything. It's gonna surprise you. It's going to hit you upside the head with things you never thought you'd have to deal with. But my main overarching piece of advice is just try to prepare at least a little bit, because even if you're only prepared in a few different ways, you at least have some knowledge going into it. You're not just pushing it off no, I'm still in school, I don't want to have to think about what happens when I graduate 2 months from now, because then you're gonna be like me, sitting around for months just trying to get your act together. So for example, when I started my internship, I knew it was going to be a 3-month thing. But about halfway through, it was possible that it could become a 6-month thing, so I was kind of banking on that. And then it became a 6-month thing, and I wasn't really sure when it was gonna end, so I didn't make plans for afterwards because there was no specific end date for when this was gonna be over, and it was kind of back and forth. So I told myself I was gonna prepare and start looking for jobs, but then it became what if I find a job and I'm still in this internship, and what do I do? How am I gonna juggle that? So I ended up kind of pushing it off. And I finished this internship and I had no plans. And it was right around Christmas time, beginning of the year, so no one was hiring, no one was doing anything, so I kind of had to just sit tight and wait. Then I spent a ton of time talking to people who gave me a ton of information but weren't extremely helpful in like getting me a job. Like it just wasn't the right time or the right places. So essentially like it took me a long time just to like get my act together and figure out where I was supposed to go. So I think for that, you can't start too early. Like at least think about it, reach out to people, start getting an idea of what direction you're gonna go in. And like my number one tip that I've learned in the past 6 months or so that literally cannot hurt you, it can only help you, is networking with people, meeting with as many people as you can. Just getting those contacts in general is going to be so helpful, because that's essentially most of what I've been doing for the past 6 months or so. I've met with more people than jobs that I have applied to. That sentence was kind of confusing. Out of all the contacts I met with, which were so many freaking people, I can't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you all their names because I met with so many. A lot of them had no jobs to offer. A lot of them also sent me on to other people who had no jobs to offer. And eventually, the job that I got had nothing to do with any of those contacts I had before. So no, they did not essentially lead me to having a job, and that's not always going to happen. But because I met with so many people, it helped me interview better, talk about myself better, get more comfortable talking to people about myself and about my experience. And I think that was the biggest thing that helped me get a job, was just that I was more comfortable in an interview. I knew how to talk about myself, and I knew more of what exactly I wanted and what to look for in a job. Long way around that, talk to people, talk to as many people as you can to get the best head start that you can. Like I know you can't start applying for jobs, but meeting with people will help you kind of prepare to talk about yourself and prepare to create a resume and apply for jobs and interview for jobs and all that sort of thing, if that makes sense. So yeah, meet with people, let them kind of help you figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, how to talk about yourself, what sort of things are important about yourself to talk about, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. There's so many ways you can prepare, but that would be, I think, at least for me, that was the most helpful and the most important. Never hesitate to meet with people, even if you don't think they're gonna help you out right now. They could help you out in the future. You could help them out in the future. Like meeting people, there's no bad thing that can come of it. I mean, I've had a couple bad experiences, so it can mess you up mentally a little bit, but it can't hurt. It can only help. So that's how I'm gonna answer that question. I don't even know where I started. I feel like I just rambled. I need to do better from here on out answering these questions. Okay, how did you know what you wanted to do as a job right after graduating college? Because I'm feeling a little lost. Short answer is I didn't. I still don't. And the secret of it is almost nobody does, which could help you feel better, could help you feel worse. I don't know. I feel like it just happens differently for everyone. Like sometimes you just fall into something and you end up loving it. Sometimes you fall into something and you hate it and you have to just reevaluate. Sometimes you meet somebody and they give you an opportunity that is perfect for you. Sometimes you're just Googling around and you find a job description and you're like, hey, that sounds like me. This company sounds cool. Let's try it. I think you just kind of have to take into consideration like what you like, what you're good at, and how that translates into like a real-time job. And sometimes only like looking around and researching and reading job descriptions can you really get a good understanding, or talking to people, like I said, is always helpful. Like for me, I liked writing, I liked entertainment, I liked the internet and social media, and somehow that kind of turned into like marketing, writing, digital content, social media stuff, that sort of thing. So I would just say like don't force yourself to know right now, because you only really know once you try it and once you get out there and start doing something. So you kind of have to just take a shot in the dark and apply for things that sound interesting, that you think you might be good at and that you think you might like, and find a good halfway point between things you're good at and things you want to do, and find the perfect kind of job fusion for that. And just be open-minded, because you might not find the perfect thing right away, but if it gives you like important skills that could help you get that job that you really want down the road, or would look really good, and kind of be a stepping stone, or if it's in a company that you really like and it may not be the perfect job, but you know you want to be in this company, it could help you get your foot in the door and then move your way over to where you want to be. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm kind of just taking a shot in the dark, and this is kind of where I've ended up from both opportunities and kind of analyzing what I like and what I want to do. And it might not be perfect, it might not be the best job ever, but I'll at least know by the end of it, right? How do you stay sane in a long time of unemployment? Because I've been unemployed for a couple of months now and I just feel so depressed. I get you. Don't worry. My biggest tip for this is just to stay as productive as possible. That's been kind of like my saving grace in these many, many months that I've been sitting at home. Don't let yourself just like lay in bed until 11 a.m. and watch TV and not do anything. Like, you're allowed to do some of that. You're gonna be working 8 to 5 for the rest of your life. Like, enjoy your time off while you can, I guess. But it is depressing and it is hard, and I totally understand that. So for me, I try to just like have to-do lists every day and keep myself as busy as I possibly could, which included meeting with people as often as I could, as many people as I could, looking for jobs, reading job descriptions, applying for jobs, updating your resume, updating your cover letter, researching the best interview tips and questions. If that's not enough for you, like, focus on your hobbies, whether it's making videos or writing blog posts, whatever. Like, focus on things you love to do. One thing I started looking into was helping with nonprofits, like doing the things that I wanted to do in a career, but helping in a volunteer capacity, even if it's not centered around what you want to do in the future, even if it's just like general volunteering. Like, people like that are always looking for help. It's just a bonus if it's like what you want to do as a career as well. Also, just like, while you're looking through job descriptions and finding the types of jobs that you'd like to apply for or like to have in the future, take note of the things that are in those job descriptions or the skills that you don't have yet, and try to learn those skills. So for me, a lot of the job descriptions I saw wanted people to be AdWords and Google Analytics like certified, so I went and did that on my own time because it gave me those skills that would then help me get those jobs. So there are always things to do, I think, and it's important to be doing those things so that when you go in an interview and they're like, what have you been doing for the last few months of unemployment, you can say, well, I learned this skill, I've been helping with this, meeting with these people, and it makes you look like you've been doing the work, even though you haven't had a full-time job. Definitely know it's gonna be okay. Take a deep breath. I know there are days that it just seems like the end of the world. As long as you're keeping yourself busy and you can say, this is how I'm spending my time in a productive way, I think you'll feel better about that time. And like I said before, just enjoy it. Like, make sure to take some days where you sleep in late or watch One Tree Hill all day. I know I had those. But yeah, most important thing, you're gonna be fine. Don't get sad. If you really are depressed, go see a therapist. They will help you much better than I could. Just saying. And our last question says, I graduated from college a couple months ago and I'm still looking for my first job. I have an interview coming up and I'm so nervous I want to cry and cancel and just live at home forever. Been there. But I know I can't, so what can I do to not be so nervous in an interview? Help me, thank you. Again, I'm gonna go back to the first thing I said. Networking is so helpful here because I'll just say, like, at least for me, someone who has a hard time talking to people sometimes, or like I'm not super great in formal social settings, meeting with someone at a coffee shop in a more informal setting is so much easier than an interview. Still nerve-wracking sometimes, but much more informal, much more relaxed than a formal interview. So meeting with people and talking to people about yourself, not in an actual interview context, is one of the best ways, at least for me, that helped the most in getting confident and comfortable in an interview setting. So when you're meeting with people, like, they'll ask you questions, you'll have to talk about yourself, you'll get a better sense of what people see when they look at your resume. Don't hesitate to ask them, like, what questions come up about this? What would your biggest questions about me be? What do you think my strengths and weaknesses would look like? Things like that. Like, use those networking meetings to kind of help you learn more about yourself and get better answers to interview questions that you will likely be asked. Does that make sense? Like, that was such a long sentence. But also, like, meeting with people in those informal settings was 100% helpful in making me more comfortable for interviews. Like, honestly, I wish I had a better answer, but like, doing interviews and those sort of things are really the only way to get more comfortable doing more interviews. Like, you just have to do it. When I first started interviewing, I would take pretty much the day before an interview to like look up common interview questions, think of good answers to those questions, write them down, try and memorize them, the best I could. Do breathing exercises, try to keep your anxiety level down. I know that's hard to say because I was never like that. And also just keep in mind, like, being nervous in an interview or not having the best interview does not automatically mean you're not gonna get the job. My first interview I ever did was horrendous. I did awful, but I got that internship. So it's not like the end of the world if you bomb it, because I have bombed them plenty of times before, and once I did still get the job. So interviews aren't everything. Sorry, my camera just ran out of memory. But anyway, back to my answer. Interviews are not the end of the world. So don't put so much pressure on yourself, and do whatever you can to kind of tell yourself that it's not as formal as you think it's gonna be. Like, at least for me, that's extremely helpful. If I know it's going to be a more informal setting, I feel so much better. Honestly, I always felt better when it wasn't called an interview. Like, the minute somebody called it an interview, my anxiety like went through the roof. I was like, oh no, it's an interview, I have to freak out now. But if someone just called it like a meeting or getting to know me or like wanting to ask me some questions, I was better. So I think just like trying to tell yourself that it's informal, that it's not as bad as you think it's gonna be, it's not as formal and important as your mind thinks it's gonna be, I think that helps a little bit. So these are really just like the basic questions and my basic answers. I could have rambled about all of these for much longer. So if you want to see like a dedicated video to any of these subjects relating to like getting through college, graduating college, starting college maybe, I know people are starting school really soon, interviewing, getting your first job, first internships, what to do, how to do it, any of that stuff, I have experience with, guys. I'm a 22-year-old who is now an adult and knows how to deal with these things. So ask me your questions. I would love to impart my knowledge upon you. So yeah, maybe we'll make this like a series of like how to adult or something. And we'll just get all the questions and give all the answers and advice, because I love helping you guys out. I've been there, so I feel like I should tell you what I've learned. That's the best way to do it. So very exciting things are coming up in my life, guys. I'm gonna be moving, starting a new job, buying furniture, decorating a home, living on my own. This is going to be terrifying. But anyway, all that very exciting stuff is coming up in vlogs soon. So I hope you're looking forward to that. This is a whole new thing happening in my life. So I'm excited to film it. I'm excited to bring you along with me. And I hope you're excited as well. I hope this video helped you in some way. If it didn't, if there are still some questions you have, you're always free to ask me. I'm always free to accept questions. I answer them on my Tumblr every so often. If you leave a comment, I will answer it. I'm here to help you. That's what I'm here for. So, all right, I'm gonna end the video now. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week with another video. Bye, guys.